Welcome in to the Pelicans Podcast. I'm Andrew Lopez, your TV sideline reporter for the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. NBA schedule has been released, and we're here to break it all down today. We're going to have it Todd Graffagnini, your radio play-by-play guy, as well as two of our newest talents that you'll meet a little bit later in the show. Now, let's take a look at some of the highlights of the schedule before we bring Todd in and break this all down. Opening night, October 21st, against the Indiana Pacers. That is the first chance you'll get to see Jamahl Mosley's Pelicans in the regular season. 3 5-game homestands this year. Those are the longest homestands, all of them early in the season. 1 in November, 1 in December, and then 1 in January that starts on New Year's Eve with the Los Angeles Lakers. 16 back-to-backs so far this year. I'm sure we'll hear a lot about that from Todd when we talk to him. All of your NBA Cup nights are going to be in November on Friday nights, the 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Los Angeles Clippers. And the road trip. There's only going to be one the road trip this year. That is going to be the Mardi Gras trip. 12 days, 7 games. 2 Saturdays, you're missing the Mardi Gras season. Not great for us. Great for you guys, though. You'll get to see us all on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. Now time to bring in radio play-by-play guy, Todd Graffagnini, who will be with you for all of the preseason games. Those just announced today as well. October 6th in Tulsa against the Oklahoma City Thunder. October 8th against the Miami Heat there in Miami. October 14th against the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, and here at home on October 16th against the Washington Wizards. But Todd, let's get into the 26-27 regular season schedule and all 16 back-to-backs that a little birdie told me that you called that into the NBA. You said you wanted as many back-to-backs as possible. Is that true, sir?
No, I cannot confirm that call, Andrew. First of all, really good to see you. Yeah, that's, in a word, that's challenging. I mean, you expect that's part of the NBA. I mean, you deal with it and that's what happens. But I think this will be my 8th year calling games with the Pelicans on the radio. I think the high in all of those years has been 12, maybe 13. So 16 is a bit over the top, but it is what it is. And, Jamahl Mosley's going to really hit the ground running, so to speak, because my opinion, we've got the toughest back-to-back in the NBA the very first week of the season, which is going to Utah and then Denver. That's tough.
And then not only that, you have another back-to-back the following week. 2 of your first 5 games, 2 back-to-backs. But that Utah-Denver one is rough. In November, though, all of your NBA Cup games are in a line. All of them are going to be on Friday nights in November. I do like that you're not jumping around. It's not, maybe this Friday or this Tuesday or whatever it is. I like that they're all on Fridays. Pelicans in Group B, Minnesota, Memphis, OKC, and the Clippers. A very tough group, but you're in the Western Conference. You're going to have nothing but tough groups. How excited are you about the NBA Cup nights this year?
No, it's good. I've really gotten, into it in the last couple of years. Obviously, the first year they had it, we went all the way to Vegas and made the semifinals. So it's good. And despite what people say, again, I enjoy it. I think it does add a little juice, especially early in the regular season. And the fact that all these games now are on Friday is good because everybody can concentrate on it. You'll have the different courts all around the NBA on that night. And the fact that the first 2 games of the Cup are at home, you've got a chance to build a little equity there because those last 2 games in OKC and at the Clippers, those are definitely going to be tough. But I'd rather play Minnesota and Memphis at home to start the Cup and hopefully get a couple of wins there and then see what happens on the road.
And that new look Minnesota team, not just bringing in LaMelo Ball, but the old jerseys as well. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that color scheme again.
Yeah, no, it's it'll bring back a lot of memories going back. I mean, it's I think we're seeing a lot of that though in the NBA, trying to bring back the old jerseys and the old colors sometimes in their what you would call city edition. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
In December, moving past where it would be the NBA Cup, hopefully the NBA Cup championship that we'll certainly be a part of. A 5-game homestand right after that. There is another back-to-back right before that. Of course there is. But in that December 5-game homestand, you get the NBA champion New York Knicks coming. You get the one chime that Victor Wembanyama is going to show up in the SKC because you're obviously going to play him in Paris as well as Manchester. And then you finish that on Christmas Eve with the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I'm sure you always are looking forward to those matchups, aren't you, Graff?
Oh, don't you know it? You know how I love playing OKC. Look, we better enjoy it because these long homestands, are few and far between
Yes,
on
they
the
are.
schedule. So yeah, but no, it'll be fun. The SKC will be hopping. Of course, it'll be December, so it'll be holidays, and everybody's going to be coming out. But to cut, the Knicks game, obviously, Jose Alvarado is going to return to the Smoothie King Center. That's going to be a blast. Always tough playing OKC. Yeah, and the Spurs. I mean, and we didn't even talk about the back-to-back. I mentioned the toughest back-to-back in the league,
Yes.
which is Utah and Denver. Thanks a lot, NBA. They stuck us with an OKC San Antonio back-to-back on the road. Just the two teams that were in the Western Conference Finals a year ago. So, yeah, good stuff there, too.
I'm more upset about that because I don't get to go to Pinkerton's in San Antonio, which
There's always a bit of selfishness for us broadcasters
Yes.
on these road trips. So I could go the rest of the show with only going we're going to be in San Francisco on the second of back-to-backs both times we go there. So that's my favorite road trip, and we're not even able to enjoy it.
I'd be lying if I didn't say that the first time that I looked at the schedule, I'm looking at it for, this team, this. The second time I looked at the schedule, however, I was looking for all the places that we were going to go eat. And that is absolutely true. You go into January, and obviously sometimes one of the reasons probably you do have maybe a few more back-to-backs than you used to is because of the trip overseas and just because of the days that are going to be spent there. You playing at Miami before you leave to go on the trip to Paris. Play on Paris on Thursday, January 14th. Play in Manchester in the UK on the 17th. Just an excellent trip and a good chance to be on national TV. But then the Graph, we get to, I think, everybody's favorite part of the 26-27 schedule, the 12-day, 7-game road trip. How excited are you to be out for all of Mardi Gras season?
Well, that's the thing, Andrew. They always have the rodeo trip in San Antonio, which, of course, when you were in San Antonio, you knew what that was all about. They have to get out of town because of rodeo. Now, we usually get out of. Now, we were lucky last year because Mardi Gras was during the All-Star break, so we were able to enjoy it here. That's not the case this year. Now, when we have a Mardi Gras road trip, it's usually Mardi Gras weekend. It never included the weekend before that. And this time we are going for the entire spell, all 10 days, 11 days. So, no, it'll be the longest road trip of my Pelicans career. All I can say to you, Andrew, is just being a relatively new parent, kiss the wife and baby, see ya. I mean, your daughter might be driving by the time we get back home.
Could end up being an
Atlanta.
Expensive road trip for us.
The Atlanta game is on Ash Wednesday, so I don't know if you've ever spent Mardi Gras Day in Atlanta, but you're about to see it.
I think it might be a first for me, sir. Getting into March and April, because of the amount of, you had the 3 5-game homestands, all that end January 8th. You've had, obviously, the big road trip. It's a very kind of even schedule a little bit down there in March and April. Really, you only play, you get 2 days off for the last game of the regular season, which we have not had the last couple of games. I feel like the last few years we've played 3 and 4 to end the season, and now you get to have that little bit of an extra break. What stands out to you in the March and April portion of the schedule?
Well, really, the March part is the fact that there's only one back-to-back, and it's at home, and that's against Orlando and Houston. So, well, you know what? I take that back. I was looking at it wrong. We've got 3 consecutive back-to-backs in 3 weeks. So just scratch what I just said, ladies and gentlemen. And they are both home road back-to-backs.
Your
the
favorite.
third one is at home. Oh, Andrew, it's not getting any better watching this, but I will end with this. The 16th and final back-to-back, the cherry on top of the back-to-back Sunday, the always popular Washington at home at Denver back-to-back. Now, you traveled to Denver before from New
I have.
Orleans. That's not exactly going around the corner here. And
No, it's
of
not.
course, the trip from the Denver airport to the hotel is about as long as the flight from New Orleans to Houston. So
It's actually probably accurate.
that's going to be a early morning in Denver. And then, of course, and look, this is the last week of the season. This is happening. Hopefully, these games are going to matter. But that is certainly a difficult stretch right there at the end of the year.
Todd Graffagnini, thank you for joining us, and I'm sure privately we will talk more about these back-to-backs the rest of the year.
All I can say, Lopes, is I'm already tired and I'm not even playing. All I got to do is talk.
And you are very good at that. Thank you, Todd. We'll be right back on the Pelicans podcast with Kalia Butler. Continue breaking down this schedule. Welcome back in to the Pelicans podcast. It is now time to bring in Kalia Butler, our on-air talent, who is going to be all over Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network, Pelicans.com, Saints.com. We'll probably invent things to throw at her throughout this entire trip. Kalia, how are you today?
I'm fantastic, and I'm ready for anything you guys throw my way. I'm excited for it.
You probably should not have said that.
I know, I'm nervous.
No, we'll make sure. Let's start with what will be your first Pelicans regular season game, the opener against the Indiana Pacers on October 21st. How excited are you, not just for that game, but to experience everything that the Smoothie King Center has to offer?
I mean, I think there's been so much of a buildup right now, just, being able to be part of Saints season a little bit, being at training camp, now being able to progress towards NBA season coming back around, and just the excitement around New Orleans. And for me, the newness and a little bit of a newness for this team as well, obviously under a new head coach and just what that can bring. So I feel like there's going to be high energy and just a really strong atmosphere. And when you bring all that together and you have a Pacers as your matchup to kick things off, I feel like they're going to come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot to prove this season, and they definitely can meet that benchmark. So I think there's just going to be high energy, and that's really just been the talk ever since Summer League.
Yeah, and it's a Pacers team that's going to have a fresh Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously missed all of last season with the Achilles injury. They made some moves last year. They traded for Zubac. So they're going to be in position, like you said. I think they're going to want to start the season out on the right note, but hopefully Jamal Mosley and crew take care of that on opening night. It's also going to be 4 of your first 6 are at home. It's kind of a wonky schedule in terms of when you're going to take some road trips and things, and you have 3 5-game homestands. But before you even get there, the 4 of the first 6, 4 of your games, of your 6 games in October are at home. How important is it going to be to see these Pels get off to a fast start?
I think there's a true benefit to having this homestand to a degree. Obviously, you have 2 games that are going to be away within that, but having the first 4 of 6 at home, you get to utilize your home court advantage. And as you're a team that, again, is going to be throwing in new systems, new ideas, obviously, again, a new head coach, this is the time where you can use your crowd as kind of the energizer to help you, as this is a little bit of a transition for the team. But there's nothing better than playing at home. I feel like a lot of the players would say the same things. There's nothing better than having your fans backing you. They are your 6th players. So, even if, let's say, Indiana goes on a run because Tyrese is back and he's got fresh legs, he just got married and things are great. But you have your fans that are there rallying behind you because they're excited of what this team can be. Obviously, there's a lot of youth for this squad as well. So I think being able to have that homestand and using your crowd as a 6th player to start off the season when you're going to have a lot of road trips as well is definitely beneficial.
It's kind of a unique schedule. You start off, as we talked about before, starting off with Indiana, day off, road back-to-back, 3 days off, and then you have 3 and 4 at home, finishing up that October part with the Atlanta Hawks on Halloween night. I cannot wait to see what the Smoothie King Center is going to look like on Halloween. We Talking about the national games for your Pels, there's only two. Both of them are going to be on Prime, and of course, they're also going to be when the Pels are in Europe against the San Antonio Spurs, against at the Spurs home game in Paris. Of course, when you have Wemby, you get the home game in Paris. Pels get the home game when they are in Manchester in the UK. What are you looking forward to about seeing the Pels on that national stage against a team that was just in the NBA Finals in the San Antonio Spurs?
I feel like this is going to kind of come across as the same theme of even just the opening night against the Pacers, having Tyrese Haliburton, but the idea of, you're going up against some conference champions and you're going to play with the chip on your shoulder as well, because it is going to be a home game for Wemby, and obviously being able to have Paris behind him and being able to kind of put the Pels on a different platform. Obviously, this isn't necessarily the first time that they've ever played overseas. Right. But when you have the opportunity to go up against some of the best of the best, and obviously probably going to potentially be a little bit of a tough environment to play in, I think it's always just a good gauge. And I think that's what this team is probably going to be battle tested a decent amount this season, of how they can respond to certain senses of adversity. And I think this is just the first part of all of that. Then you get to go to Manchester. And I think the biggest thing of all of this is it's all just an experience as well. I mean, I feel like you can't take that part of it away. Obviously, it's competition, whatever the case may be, but there's also a certain sense of experience for a lot of young players on this team to be able to travel overseas, play basketball, have whatever excursions the team may come up with while they're there as well. And I think that's a really fun part of it, because it's still all fun at the end of the day.
And I'll tell you what, some of those excursions were definitely some of the best parts of that Australia trip last year. These games, though, they will count against an NBA regular season team in the San Antonio Spurs. Well, Kalia, thank you for joining us on the Pelicans podcast. We're talking schedule. And while you are a new member of the on-air team, you're not the newest member. We're going to meet our newest member. Stay tuned to the Pelicans podcast. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back into the Pelicans podcast. It is now time to meet the newest member, our Pelicans live host, Kelly Crull, who's going to be on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. A new face to you, but not a new face to any NBA fans. Kelly, welcome in. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to be here with you, and I really am counting down the days until the season begins. So the fact that we now have a schedule to talk about makes it that much better. So I can't wait to get started.
Let's get right into it. That opening night, October 21st against the Indiana Pacers. How excited are you to see that first game?
There's a lot of reasons that this one will be extremely special. One, just because it's a new chapter and team for me to get to be hanging out with every night as far as the broadcast team goes, the team itself, getting to see the growth that the Pelicans are likely to have in this year, which there's so much optimism, I think, around this team right now. And for me, as somebody who grew up in the state of Indiana, hoops is life up there. And the Pacers was the team that, of course, I grew up on. It was a much different team, not to date myself. We won't go there. But this Pacers team that I have followed closely is one that is going to look a little different as long as Tyrese Haliburton is healthy, like he says he will be for that first game. And I think this is a team that will be able to compete in the East. I know the East has changed a lot with some big superstars moving into different cities and uniforms, but I think the Pacers are going to hang in there. And I say I'm excited because that means it's a great test right out of the gates for the Pels to really understand kind of how they stack up against some of these teams that are likely to be competing at the end of the season for all the marbles. So I think that'll be a great way for fans to kind of get the season underway at home against a great test. So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about it.
And we know Jamal Mosley and his teams are known for defense. What better way to go against a guy like Tyrese Haliburton? Let's talk about one of the games that you are most excited about on the schedule on Christmas Eve, the end of a 5-game homestand when the Oklahoma City Thunder come to town on December 23rd.
I think if there's a way to have a present wrapped up and executed to said son, daughter, or just, anyone special in your life, this is the way to do it. Christmas Eve, just go to the Pels game at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We know SGA and company, once again, will be in the hunt in the West. And I mentioned a great barometer earlier at the start of the season in the East. And now, you're going to get to see the Thunder a number of times. But when you get to do it at home, you get to do it around the holidays. Kids are out of school. Parents can, gather everybody up, come to the arena. And I just think it could be a really great environment to host a team that you could kind of really take it to them in your home environment.
And then let's talk about this road trip. And it's not, whenever we're going to talk about a road trip this year, it's going to be the road trip this year for your New Orleans Pelicans, starting on January 30th and ending somehow after Mardi Gras. 7 games, 12 days. Do you have enough bags for this trip? That's the first thing I need to ask.
100%. And if I really, like I said, wanted to drop the girl knowledge on you, there's ways of buying clothes when you're on the road and then sending them home and all the things that us ladies get used to. But certainly I should have plenty of bags. I looked at it too, just to make sure, would I need any coats on the road at that time of year? And probably, because we'll be in the East some. I think it's going to be an exciting road trip for a number of reasons, mainly because you get to see LeBron and the 76ers in Philadelphia. So that'll be one of those, I just think anytime that environment plays out in Philly with him and the Pels are going to be in there, then that'll be interesting. And you're doing that, if I'm not mistaken, right after you've seen Donovan Mitchell and James Harden in Cleveland. So you start that road trip off with a couple of big tests, and it's back-to-back nights with Philly and then Orlando. And I think that's just the beginning. And then you got to hang in there for like another week with another however many teams you have left to go. So yes, I will be prepared with my bags, I hope. If not, well, I hear there's good shopping in some of those cities, so especially New York. So I'll take it.
Couple of good off days on that trip. On that trip, 7 games, 7 of the 15 times that we are going to travel to a road city happen on that trip. Say very much. Right? It is an Eastern Conference trip all the way through all 7 games.
There you go. Chicago. I've spent some time in Chicago. I can show you Michigan Ave. We can go and do plenty of shopping there if we need it. But the Bulls, they expect to be better this year too. There's another young team, a lot like the Pelicans, who expect to take another step forward this year with some of the pieces that they've added. So I look forward to that's an arena with so much history and always a great crowd. And so to make some noise there. And then, oh, hey, by the way, we're back playing the Pacers again, only this time in Indiana, before you get to wrap it up with the Hawks, who I don't know if DeJounte Murray still gets a kick of coming to Atlanta or not, but I will enjoy watching him on that road trip. Certainly spent some time covering DeJounte in Atlanta. So to see him back on the road and, like I said, hopefully taking it to the Hawks, that would be fun.
I'll say this. I'm just glad that 7-game road trip ends in Atlanta, because I don't know if I could do one of those 2.5, 3-hour flights having to come home after all of that.
The same thing. At least it's a quick hour jaunt back and we're home. Thank goodness by that end of the trip, right?
I will take that. Kelly, thank you for joining us on the Pelicans podcast. Looking forward to the season.
Same. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. I can't wait to get started.
Thanks for tuning in to the Pelicans podcast, and thank you to Todd, Kalia, and Kelly for joining. If you need tickets, pelicans.com/tickets will have you covered. And of course, we're going to have you covered all season long on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. I'm Andrew Lopez. Thanks for watching.